Hi everyone. Welcome to Turkish series stars. All the details are in my video. If you enjoy it, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support us even more, you can click the join button below. Thank you so much, and now let's get into the story. It was one of those grey Istanbul afternoons that seems to press its weight onto the streets, a day when the city sounds quieter than usual and even the gulls fly lower. Outside a quiet building where actor Barış Baktaş has been living for months, a moment unfolded that only a handful saw, yet soon thousands would discuss as if they had been standing there themselves. What began as an ordinary day became a turning point in how the public now reads the history between Barış and Yagmmer Yüksel, a history many had filed away as a beautiful but completed chapter, sealed by pride, silence, and wounds that never quite closed. She appeared like a memory stepping out of the wind. Yagmmer emerged at the entrance in a long, dark coat, moving as if she didn't want the city to fully recognize her. A scarf softened the lower part of her face, but not the look in her eyes, that unmistakable blend of longing and unease that tells you the past is very much alive. She approached a door she knew by heart, a door that had witnessed laughter, late-night confessions, and the kind of quiet moments that leave echoes when they're gone. Her hand hovered near the bell as if the smallest touch could set off an earthquake. For a breath, it seemed she might turn away. Then she pressed it. The chime drifted through the hall. A few seconds stretched out until they felt like minutes, the pause dense enough to carry everything they had never said. The door opened. There stood Barış, unprepared for the sight in front of him, as if a scene from a role he'd once played had abruptly come to life in his own doorway. His eyes widened, his breath caught. He searched for words and found almost none. His voice fell to a hush, rough around the edges. "Yagmmer, why are you here?" She raised her gaze, vulnerable yet composed, as if she had promised herself she wouldn't waver this time. "I didn't come to fight," she said softly. "I just needed to see you." The silence that followed settled between them like a blanket on a cold day. The rain began to thrum against the pavement, but even the weather felt secondary to the thudding in their chests. Those nearby would later swear that the atmosphere turned so taut the air itself seemed to hesitate. People close to them say they hadn't spoken in weeks, not since an argument that sliced through the middle of everything they had carefully built. The rift had spread in quiet ways, filling all the small spaces where tenderness once lived. And yet, something had brought her to that door. The hope of closure, perhaps, or the unconscious urge to open a page she wasn't ready to stop reading. Barış blinked himself back into the present and eased the door wider, tilting his head in a gentle invitation. He was trying not to show, and failing, how rattled he was. "You don't have to stand in the hall," he murmured, his voice uneven. This was your place too." She didn't cross the threshold. Her eyes drifted past him, into the warm dim of the apartment. Inside were pieces of their old life, a mug she used to claim, the throw blanket that never quite stayed folded, the corners where their shared laughter used to land and stay. Later, speaking to someone she trusted, she would say, "Sometimes the hardest thing is returning to rooms where you can still hear your happiness." She met his gaze again and offered a faint, aching smile. "It isn't anymore, Barış," she whispered. "But I needed to know you would still open the door." They stayed facing one another, neither moving, time processing them instead of the other way around. Outside, the rain intensified like a reminder that the world continues its rhythm no matter whose heart is on pause. A few witnesses claim that once she left, Yagmmer lingered on the sidewalk for several minutes, as if the pavement beneath her feet held an answer she could feel but not name. Some insist she cried quietly. Others believe she just looked up, letting the sky decide the words she couldn't speak. Inside, the apartment felt like it was listening. Those close to Barış say he left the door ajar for a long while after she disappeared from the landing, as if closure was something he might accidentally slam if he wasn't careful. In the quiet, he seemed to be negotiating with himself, trying to accept that the echo in the corridor was simply the echo of the past. The wave on social media arrived almost instantly. Comments poured in, arguing over the meaning of a glance or the length of a pause. People wrote that the whole encounter could have been pulled from one of Barış's dramas, restrained affection, unfinished endings, and the sort of sentences that hurt more when swallowed than when spoken aloud. As if life wanted to heighten the theatricality, days later he posted a message that sent the internet into a frenzy of interpretation. Some thresholds open not for return, but so too people can bow out with grace. Within hours, Yagmmer responded on her own profile with a muted video of a dusky shoreline and a line that stung with tenderness. Sometimes keeping your feet on the doorstep is its own kind of love. That was all it took for the Turkish entertainment media to begin dissecting every pixel, every comma. Analysts studied posture, micro-expressions, and the cadence of those short phrases. Was this a failed reconciliation? A final goodbye dressed in poetic restraint? One thing felt beyond dispute: the current between them still flowed, impossible to ignore. A member of the team on the set of Barış's new project let slip that the day after the encounter, he arrived quiet and raw around the eyes. In a scene where he had to look at his co-star with open warmth, he needed several takes. The softness would falter at the last moment, his concentration snagged on something the camera couldn't catch. Eventually, hands on his hips and frustration in his voice, he muttered, "This look belongs to someone else." A few days after that, Yagmmer melted away from the city's noise and slipped toward the coast. A friend confided that she needed the kind of silence that holds you together when the world gets too loud. Standing outside that door, she had come up against a feeling bigger than she'd admitted to herself. The sea has a way of sorting what the heart can't, and she let the tide and the breeze rearrange her thoughts. Meanwhile, the fans of both filled every platform with emotion. Some pleaded for a second try, a chance to rebuild with patience. Others urged them to find peace apart, to protect what was left by not insisting it become something it could no longer be. Amid the thousands of remarks, one line rose above the noise and spread like a refrain: "Love rarely disappears, sometimes it simply chooses silence." Then the story curved in a new direction. A short video leaked of Barış walking alone through a neighborhood that carried the scent of their old routines. He paused at the window of a small flower shop they used to pass, went inside, and emerged with a single white rose. Viewers watched as he laid it carefully on a familiar bench, the same spot where they had once solved problems with teacups warming their hands. It was a simple act, but it rang like a bell. A few hours after that clip made the rounds, as if some invisible string still tugged between them, a new post appeared on Yagmmer's page. A shadowed image of a doorway and a caption that read, "Not every door needs to shut forever. Some need time to breathe." Those who follow them closely say that message prompted him to call. Sources close to both insist the conversation was short but charged. He was the first to break the hush. "I don't always know the right way," he admitted, "but I haven't stepped away." She answered with that balance of candor and care people recognize in her. "I'm still here too," she said, just from a distance. From that point on, their exchange became a kind of silent duet across the digital world. A photograph from him at dawn, words about falling and learning how to stand again. A soft-lit image from her balcony, a line about hope traveling slowly but steadily. Fans pieced together their meanings like detectives, convinced a reconciliation might one day arrive after both had made peace with their bruises. Experts in body language were invited onto talk shows to analyze the brief clip of the doorway standoff, frame by frame. They paused on the moment he first saw her, insisting the look that crossed his face was not the look of someone whose story was over. The tilt of his shoulders, the way his hand curled around the edge of the door, the breath he seemed to hold, they read it all like poetry. Days later, someone photographed Yagmmer walking along the Bosphorus with headphones on, replaying a song about second chances until the melody felt like part of the water. Gradually, the public sensed a shift in both. Barış posted late-night musings about taking the ashes of what once was and using them to warm the future, not burn the past. He wasn't pleading, he wasn't despairing, he was reflecting, almost grateful for the lessons hidden in the ache. Around the same time, Yagmmer shared a quiet shot from a window, the city spread beneath her like a promise. Her caption hinted that healing was not a straight line but a path worth walking. Their followers, attuned to every nuance, began to imagine a possible path back to one another, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but someday. And so the tale of that doorway, a door that swung open yet remained uncrossed, keeps its grip on anyone who believes that some love stories evolve rather than end. The image of them standing face to face, with rain layering the world outside while time stalled inside the threshold, has become a symbol of the space between what was and what might still be. Will they one day step through that frame together, ready for a chapter written with fewer fears? Only time, that stubborn storyteller, will answer. If you enjoy these deep dives into the lives of Turkish stars, don't forget to subscribe to Turkish series Stars, turn on notifications so you never miss an update, and if you'd like to support our work further, hit the join button. Your support helps us bring you more exclusive, heartfelt stories like this one. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.